My name is Miss Chloe and I'm here with Snapology. And once again, if you've been watching any of my other videos, Snapology is an acronym for science, technology, engineering, art, and math. So we've been talking a lot about landscape, engineering, architects, the medieval times, and even dragons and castles and fairy tales. And today's topic is going to be about knights, okay? And when I say the word knights, what comes to your mind when you think of a knight? Okay, you might have said a time of day when the sun goes down and it's night time. But the kind of knight I am talking about is the one that would protect the people back in the Middle Ages. The knight who would wear the armor, who would carry the weapons to protect either the king, queen, or the royal family. All right, so the first knights of the Middle Ages fought for kings and rulers, okay? And it's important to understand their importance because not only were knights very brave, but knights had, the abilities to do anything that they had to do to protect. So that means they were strong, they were brave, and most knights, they had to have some kind of wealth or privileges to be able to afford their armor and their weapons, or even their horses. So they had to come somewhere within the noble families, okay? And back in the Middle Ages, if you think of a knight wearing a complete suit of armor to protect them, it was expensive. You had to get a silversmith or a carpenter to make your gear. Everything was handmade back in the Middle Ages. Their swords were handmade, and it wasn't like you could just go to the store and, oh, I'm gonna pick that sword and here's my money. No, knights had things custom made for them to fit them. For example, if it was a tall, big knight, he'd have a bigger sword. If it was a smaller knight, he'd have a littler sword to fit his body type, okay? By the end of the Middle Ages, knights were no longer needed to fight in armies. This was largely because countries began to form their own armies of paid soldiers, okay? And the weapons that were coming in were greater, all right? A lot more weapons. If you remember my video on shipping channels where the ships would come in and transportation we talked about with trains, just keep that in mind as the end of the Middle Ages approached. So as time goes on, the more advanced our civilization got and is getting, actually. So keep that in mind. So boys and girls, today, once again, you are going to get out your base plates. If you don't have one, you can make one. You can put together two if you want. And today, you are going to build your own kingdom. And if you have any minifigures, create your own knight. For example, you could take off different body parts and add when you have your minifigures together. If you have any swords, I know I have a lot of swords in my Lego bin, and a lot of fun things actually. Let's see who this is. Who's that? That could be a knight. Anybody could be a knight, right? It just took money, and it took being brave, a lot of intelligence actually, because knights had to be quick. They had to be quick thinkers, okay? In order to protect and stay ahead of the enemy, they had to be good thinkers. Just like you guys are, good thinkers. So, if you guys are ready to get started, without further ado, so today it's about being creative. You could build a castle. You could build, go back with your dragons, okay? Because you know, even the knights were thought to be brave enough to fight off the dragons, okay? Have you guys seen the movie Shrek? Hopefully most of you have, right? I love that movie. When Shrek slays the dragon, he puts on his armor, his helmet, and he puts on his gear. That's the vision of knights I want you guys to take with you, okay? If you think you could even build a knight with Legos, I mean, you could build him up with Legos, that would be super, super cool. I would be very impressed if any of you were able to do that, okay? So with this project, I want you to have fun, and I want you to think about back in the Middle Ages, about the knights and all they did to help protect the kingdoms, okay? All right, boys and girls, have a great afternoon. Bye-bye.